Hi all, I have a stunning game to show you from the European Individual Championship played recently. It got featured on Reddit. Okay, let's have a look at this game. It was Daniil Dubov against Ante Brkic, excuse the pronunciation. It kicked off with d4. We go into a mixture of a kind of Queen's Gambit declined with the Nimza Indian ideas, so pinning the knight, kind of transposition. It looks a little bit like a variation of Nimza Indian now, with blacks played d5. We have h6, and black plays very forcibly in the opening here and ends up now doubling white's pawns soon. So h5 threatens h4 to trap the bishop, because if bishop e5 we have things like f6. So white actually makes some space for his bishop, but knowing, yeah, black can double pawns on both sides of the board. And black does that. Bishop takes c3, knight takes g3. So if you're into pawn structure, you might be horrified by this game example. But there's dynamic compensation here. Swings and roundabouts. That's the beauty of chess. With black doing this, black has released some control of the e4 square. So white can actually go for e4 in one go, which white does now. Knight c6 develops on the queen side, making way to try and castle queen side. In fact, white plays e4 immediately here. D takes, queen takes. Black really doesn't want to castle on the king side. He hits now g3, and the king comes to protect g3. So this looks like a strange position, you might think. Note also, g5 is now on, but black lets this go here with bishop d7. If knight takes g5, black could actually simply castle queenside in this position, because if knight takes, the king's there, so that pins the knight. It's just, that would be okay for black to do this, because it's safety for white's king here. White doesn't want to take that pawn. Instead, white wants to go on the attack himself here after bishop d7. He plays c5, and now clearly if queen d5, what we can do is just take here and probably safely take on g5. Center's rock solid, extra pawn, fragmented pawns here, no problem. So the queen actually is encouraged to protect g5 here and go back. Rook b1 though hits b7. Black castles queenside. Now pressure on b7 is used with knight e5. The knight dare not take, as queen takes b7 is checkmate. So here we have though more forcing moves from black. f5, but queen keeps on that diagonal, and now g4. Is white going to keep being pushed around in this game? Seems like endless forcing moves from Ante Brkic. But there's a surprise here. What does white play in this position? If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video starting from now. Okay, no more pushing around. Bishop a6, queen sacrifice. Ends the pushing around here for sure. First point is, this wasn't taken. The queen was taken. If it was taken here, knight takes c6 is great, because we're threatening knight takes a7. Mating, for example, here knight takes a7. That's just really good for white. If here we've got things like a6 to look forward to, that's good for white. So black took the queen here, going into the horrible windmill of checks now. Bishop takes b7 check. Okay, white for the moment is a queen down, but now a knight as well as the pawns, the extra pawns he's getting. Check, keeps up the checks. This is the beauty of the windmill. You keep up the checks and you win material. Bishop takes f3 check. Keeping up the checks. Bishop b7 check. Now here, white actually saw a great continuation, but there might even be stronger. White played bishop c6 check. There might even be stronger in bishop d5 check or bishop e4 check, with the idea of bishop c4. That's also fantastic for white, and probably the very strongest continuation. That's how the engines would finish off black in this position. It's just hopeless. But yeah, we have a different line, which is still very, very strong. Bishop c6 check with the idea, and this ends the game. Black's convinced it ends the game. What does white play here if I give you 5 seconds in this position? Okay, just move 26. Rook b2, just to double. Black resigned. If he plays bishop takes c6, white just continues doubling the rooks. The knight is doing that very useful job of holding d7. So that's mating here. Black couldn't escape that. The pawn is, the king has just got no heir to it. It's just, for example, could delay things, but ends up getting mated. But there is a resourceful try here, actually. Instead of taking that bishop, the resourceful try, if black was a stubborn computer, would play this. And if here, then actually there's an interesting defensive idea for black. Can you see? If I give you 5 seconds here. Black to try and stave off mate. Okay, king d8. Yeah, it vacates c8 for the bishop. So if check, then is it so clear? But nevertheless, white can still get a big advantage or a winning advantage on df8, just taking on d7. And here, rook hb1 threatens mate. And say like this, we can play check. And this is actually going into a winning ending, this position. For example, like this, it's just a winning ending. If we look at this ending position, it's enough to win. So yeah, it's okay. It wasn't the most clinical like way of finishing things off, but it does the job. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.